Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: coders of Reddit, how do you politely refuse your friend's $1 million app idea? Usually by going to the App Store and finding 10 versions of their app idea that already exist. I once had an acquaintance tell me their idea to have an app that lets paramedics see important medical info on the patient's phone even if they are unconscious. It was a little awkward to show them the medical ID button on their lock screen and that most phones already have this built in. I'm not sure if it made it better or worse that no one really uses it. Edit, on iPhone, on your lock screen, then emergency screen, bottom left corner. Edit 2, Android is again, emergency button on lock screen. Edit 3, a few paramedics are replying that they never check people's phones for this info, I'm guessing because nobody ever fills it in and they probably don't want to waste time in an emergency situation. I still think it's worth filling in though. Perhaps if everybody with important details did do this, maybe it would be more worthwhile them checking. Edit 4, had a first responder, u/use 110, say they do check. Also they made a great point to put emergency contacts in there too. A list of these on the fridge is also very helpful. Dude, that sounds insane. I'm slammed with work right now, but when I get a chance you can show me what you've worked on. Spoilers. They haven't worked on it, you will never be free, and the app will never get made. Gotta love polite passiveness. People gripe about passiveness, but it's often something that saves feelings effectively. Some social scientists say white lies are crucial to human society, as it lets us get along better and with fewer hurt feelings. I've gotten more appreciative of my blunt friends as I've gotten older. Yeah, at first it was harder to hear no, I'm not really interested instead of dag, I'm busy, another time. But once I internalized that they weren't saying I don't like you, it was really refreshing. Ask for a wage per hour of coding time. If they are willing to make the investment, then maybe they actually have $1 million app idea. And if they don't, you still get paid. I've worked with a few clients who think they have the next big idea, and they've somehow got the funds together to pay me. The whole time I do the work, I won't feel good about it, but I have to make a living. I'll actively try to inject ideas that might make it a success, but usually those clients can't see beyond their vision. However, I won't accept the work if they want to pay via credit card. I reckon there have been some billion-dollar apps where the coders felt that way during development. I would code gibberish for money. I don't really care at this moment. Long past is my dream where I dream to code something useful for humanity. You pay me, I code anything you want. Adobe wants to know your location. $1 million app ideas generally fall in one of 4 categories. 1. It already exists. 2. It would require insane server power and the money to pay for it. 3. It's illegal. 4. Computers don't work that way. For option 1 I show them the 12 apps that are better than their idea. For point 2 and 4 I get technical and start throwing costs around until they change subject. For option 3 I say it's illegal. What is the example of computers don't work that way? A program which sees if a certain program will halt or not. Coffee machine. Stuff coffee beans into the USB port, and fresh, hot coffee comes out a minute later. A relative had asked me to make an app that allowed his toaster, it's an extremely old one, to be controlled by his phone. My response was yeah, that's not how that works. 4. Computers don't work that way. I had someone tell me they wanted to make an app where you could text your friends, but in addition to text, audio, pics and video, you would also be able to send someone a smell. When I told him I couldn't build that, he asked if I knew someone who could. Lol, my man just wanted to text his buddies farts, is that so bad? I asked them to watch How to Build an App, a series by Tom Scott. It starts out with if you think you want to build an app, you shouldn't. It continues in this vein while showing you exactly how to do it. If they still want to do it, we'll talk. Thanks for the tip, now I can finally start building my banana curvature measuring app. I'd buy it. I never want to discourage genuine enthusiasm for an idea, so instead of saying too hard, too expensive, already been done, etc., I treat this as an opportunity to teach my friend, co-worker, board member or relative, all true examples, to take a stack of index cards and draw a picture of the app starting with the opening screen. Then use a red pen to draw the UI action that would lead to the next index card where they draw that screen. I tell them to draw as many screens as needed to illustrate how it works. If they can get past this step, they have a much better idea of the flow and complexity of the app from the viewpoint of the user. This process teaches them an enormous amount about software dev. I tell them that they would have to have this card design rock solid before talking to an app dev, and if they did it and brought it to a developer, the developer would cry at having such an organized client. Well, not even snubbing them but actually providing guidance they can reasonably pursue to hook up with a PM/dev/investor. You're a good human. My specialty is on the server side of things. If that doesn't work, I show them my website from the late IoTs, that hasn't been updated since. They usually take the hint pretty quickly that I don't have a UI bone in my body. I'm looking to develop an app based around short GIFs of dancing babies with flashing marquee text. Interested? You son of a bitch, I'm in. Lol, same. I do like cloud architecture and big data delivery systems. I pretty much say, well, if you want to run everything through console we might be able to give it a shot. But then they back off when I tell them how much I charge for consulting hours. So, like, I'm an ideas guy, you're the coder, let's split it 50/50ths, eh? Laughs at you. Ask for a salary saying that you are not prepared to be their co-CEO, they will back off instantly. This is exactly what I do with strangers. I don't work for glory or for a, maybe, future income. I have to try to do the same with friends and family. I start talking about the technical parts of what they want to do. Oftentimes I get a glassy-eyed look and they never follow up again. Tell them you charge $52 an hour and they have to buy the tubs of Redvise. That's actually cheap. Not if they're trying to get you to do it for them as a favor. Which they usually are. Or they try to get you to invest your own money into it. Once a guy gave me his brilliant idea for boat sharing. Like Zipcar but for boats. All I said was, you know you can already rent a boat, right? Anyway, that was back around 2012 and now apparently there are boat sharing apps, so I guess I missed the boat on that opportunity. Being right at the wrong time is the same as being wrong. If you tried to build a boat sharing app 8 years ago, people would have laughed you out of their office. You wouldn't have kept the company afloat for 6 years until that idea didn't sound insane. Yep. My grandfather quit his job and opened a small computer repair shop that shut down just a few years before casual home computing started taking off. Right at the wrong time, almost lost everything. Not a developer, but I am a product manager who works with a development team in which I act like a scrum master / business analyst in addition to product MGMT, small company, so lots of hats. I usually don't politely refuse. I just start asking the questions that they'll need to know the answers to before anything gets built. These questions might differ based on whatever the app is supposed to do, but usually when you start asking about specifics, people realize they don't have even 5% of the information they'd need to actually do what they think should be easy. If they're a developer, then I usually ask more business-related questions. If they're a big idea person, then I usually ask more technical questions. Regardless, it usually works one of two ways. A. This person actually has a good idea and we can workshop it together and maybe something comes of it and maybe not, or B. They realize that taking their idea and making something out of it isn't going to be a weekend job and they change the subject rather quickly. Who is the target user? How many of them exist? What are each of them willing or expected to pay? TAM/TSM projections. You can usually roll up a few numbers to get them to a back of the napkin P&L, which is often eye-opening. What does the basic architecture look like? What web services and tools would be needed to build the thing? What type of development environment would be required? High-level requirements. What does the data model look like and can you give me the step-by-step logic that implements it? What's the throughput on this logic look like? What does a minimally viable product or prototype look like and how far away from the complete product is the MVP? What are the barriers for others to enter the space once you've got this built? How do you acquire the first 10 users? First 100? What are your competitors like today? What are they likely to look like by the time you get your thing built? I find that if I try to tell someone why their idea wouldn't work, then they argue with me. However, if I assume the idea will work and start collecting the information about how it will work, then people will quickly bail on any idea they haven't really worked on. If they have really worked on it and can answer the basic questions, Then I usually ask if we could set up some scheduled time to talk about it and enjoy the rest of the dinner /party /game /whatever we're currently doing. Someone will never want to be shut down by someone else. You have to make them want to give up on their own. That should be on a motivational poster. I tell them that I know consultants that are available and will help build it, but it will take money. Barring that, I explain that ideas are a dime a dozen, it's execution that matters, and as the one doing the executing, a 51% stake in the company will be required. This gets them off my back every time. You just have to tell them the price for a web app plus application for both Android and iOS. The answer is usually, is it really that much? How much are we talking? Genuinely curious.